All right. What's going on, beautiful people? Gosh, dang it. Every time I get on here, I cannot, I just can't fathom that it's already Thursday. Like, I feel like the time is just going by so stinking fast, especially for me up here. For those of you guys who don't know, I am in Alaska. And let me tell you something about how the time passes up here in Alaska. During the winter, it is slow as hell. It is the slowest thing ever. It passes by, it takes forever. Like, it seems like time up here in Alaska during the winter seems like an entire day is like a 48-hour thing. Like, that's how time passes during the winter. Now, the reason for that is, well, it's dark all the time. Quite literally. As a matter of fact, there is a place in Alaska. It's pretty far north. It's called Barrow, Alaska. Now, what's really interesting about Barrow, Alaska, is the sun goes down, I think, like November 18th or something like that. It goes down November 18th, and it doesn't come back up again until, I think it was the end of January or that first little bit of February. And so, as you can imagine, in Alaska, now where I'm at in Alaska, I'm far enough south where it's not that bad, where I go, 3 months without actually seeing daylight. But it's enough to where, I mean, the sun up here, what's really interesting about where I live in Alaska, the sun doesn't come up till probably like 10:30. But if this is the horizon, let's say like my mic stand was the horizon. Okay. There we go. There, a level horizon. So let's say this mic stand right here was the horizon. So what happens during the winter, when the sun comes up, it's not like everywhere else in the lower 48 where the sun comes up and it's in the sky, and then by the end of the day, it just comes back down. That's not what happens in Alaska, okay? When I say we get light at 10:30, it's because the sun's kind of doing this. And it just kind of rides that horizon. So it's not like you have necessarily like the sky, filled with the sun and you can stare up and look at it. Like, it goes from a point to where it's not really dark anymore because the sun's kind of hit that horizon, and then it kind of rides that horizon, and then it goes back down. So this will kind of start happening around like 10:30 in the morning. And then it goes back down maybe around somewhere between 3 and 3:30. So we have like less than 6 hours of, complete darkness. But if you are somebody who's in a 9 to 5, if you got to be to work by 9 o'clock, I mean, and most people are at work, by even earlier than that, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And so when I was in the military, I had to be to work by, 6:30. And then I didn't get out of work until 4 p.m. So I quite literally never saw the sun, and it was very difficult. So all of this to say, once winter passes and we officially kind of start breaking into that summer phase, which is really weird. As you can see, I've got a jacket on, and it's July. I was actually doing a live last week and a Zoom last week, a handful of Zooms, and I got asked more than once, like, why I had a jacket on in the Zoom. And I was like, guys, like, in Alaska, it's like 60 degrees, 55 degrees, and which is really great. But if it's not very sunny, or we got overcast, or a lot of times it rains up here, it's a little chilly. And so once the summer hits, the time passes, it's completely different. Like, you want it to slow down, and it just goes by so stinking fast. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is, this is my long-winded version of, I can't believe it's Thursday. Not only is the week going by fast, but by golly, the freaking summer is just going by so stinking fast. We've done a lot of things. We've had some really amazing things going on. For those of you guys that did not see it, I shared a picture right before we went live, maybe about 15 minutes ago or so, in the Growth Co. Facebook group, of a picture I stumbled across during our mastermind in Las Vegas in June, which was absolutely incredible. For those of you guys that came, thank you guys. I know you guys had a big transformation. I know it was magical was the word I would use to describe it. It was absolutely magical. We're planning our second one right now. So once we get, and I'm so excited for where the location on this is going to be. Um, Once we have more details on when those dates are, I'm going to let you guys know so you guys can go ahead and start booking those. But I'm really excited. Thank you, Freddie. Thank you for being here. What's up, brother? What's going on, baby? How you doing, man? Carlin, what up, girl? Pam, Jay-Z, what's going on, dog? Thank you, guys. Thank you for jumping in. I wanted to get into this first and foremost and just express my gratitude to everybody here and just say thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for getting into the comments. Thank you guys for participating. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for taking action and doing the things. Those are the things that make all the freaking difference. So I just wanted to express my gratitude to you guys. Say thank you, Haley. What's going on, friend? Long time no see. Summer's going by quick. We are, what's the date today? The 18th. My goodness. I'm really counting the days because summer is coming to an end for me here shortly. I mean, we've had snow in Alaska as early as September before, and it's mid-July. So I'm really trying to soak in every last chance that I can get to stay outside and to be active, because I know I've got hibernation mode right across, right on the other side of this here in just a couple months. Julie, what's going on, friend? How you doing? Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. So all of this to say, guys, in addition to my summer festivities diminishing, hopefully you guys aren't on quite the time clock that I'm on. Hopefully you guys have a little bit more time to enjoy this summer weather. Alan, what's going on, baby? Thank you. Thank you for being here, bro. In addition to me watching my summertime festivities diminish, I'm also looking at where we are. I mean, we've got a little over 5 months left in the year, guys. Absolutely incredible. So we got just under 5.5 months left in the year. And I want you guys to think about where you are right now. Are you where you want to be? Now, I'm not going to go into this too deep because I've talked about this before. But one of the things that I loved that was really, really neat to be able to put things into perspective for everybody who attended the mastermind, one of the very first things that happened, one of the very first things that I did when I started speaking was I had everybody look around the room. And I said, I want you guys to look around. What do you notice? Now, in addition to all the people, there's another word that I had for everybody in there, and that is the word opportunity. I said, man, I want you guys to take this in really quick. I want you to think about where you are in your business. I want you to think about some of the things that you need. I know some of you guys in here right now, there's probably people in here right now watching live, and there's probably people that are going to be watching in the future that maybe you guys don't have money. Maybe your business has been somewhat stagnant because you maybe don't understand the underwriting of something. Maybe you don't understand how property management is set up. Maybe you don't understand, how to set up servicing. How does that work? Or how to fill out this kind of contract or this paperwork or what's legal in this state. And some of those things might be holding you back. And I want you to think about everybody that you've had a conversation with over the course of the last year. And I want you to think about how much money have you made as a direct result of communicating with these individuals. How much opportunity have you created? Because I will tell you guys something. You will never know everything, ever. So I want you guys to get that out of your head, because one of the things we're going to be talking about today is understanding the importance of consistency and momentum and how to make and keep that momentum. And so first and foremost, in order for you guys to be able to start taking that leap, the first thing you need to understand is that you don't need to know everything, especially if you're a leader. I think it was really interesting because there was a question that was posed in the Growth Co a few days ago about what's keeping you from stepping into that leadership role. And there's a lot of really interesting comments in there. And I'm really grateful that everybody took the time to comment and address some of their fears or concerns around what it takes to step into a leadership role. But I want you guys to know and embrace the fact that you don't have to know everything. And a big part of creating that company culture as a leader is allowing not only the people that you brought in, allowing them the opportunity and the room to learn and to grow and to fail and to succeed. You also want to create that line of communication and expectation with those individuals as well, that they are also allowing you the opportunity to learn and to grow and to fail as a leader. But the main bit difference is you take on all of that risk and you as the leader take on all of that responsibility. So that is up to you to own and you alone. When the company fails, it's 100% your fault. So there's just kind of some of these things that I want to address real quick. Not that that's the topic or anything, but I want you guys to kind of think about what are some of the things that you need in your business. And when it comes to creating and keeping momentum, I want you guys to understand, just as Pam pointed out in the comments, you don't have to know everything, nor should you know everything. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite quotes is from Henry Ford. Now, think about everything that Henry Ford did. Think about everything that he created. He is one of my all-time role models. How many people, throw this in let me know in the chat, guys. How many feet are in a mile? Is there anybody that knows how many feet are in a mile? If you do me a favor, throw it in the chat right now. How many feet are in a mile? One of my favorite movies, Remember the Titans. There was a scene in there when one of the guys drops the football and now he's got to go run a mile. And he puts the football in this guy's chest and he's like, "Okay, I want you to pick this ball up and I want you to go run every foot in a mile." And he's like asking him, how many feet are in a mile? For those of you guys that don't know, there's 5,280 feet in a mile. Now, the reason this is important, the reason that this is relevant is because a reporter asked Henry Ford the exact same question. He said, "How many feet are in a mile?" And Henry Ford's response was just absolutely inspirational. He said, "I don't know, but I can go find a man who does." And I thought that was really, really interesting because I look back, when I hear that, I look back at some of the other things that have held me back in my business. And I look at some of the things that kept me from creating any sort of momentum or consistency in my business, where little thoughts like that, like, man, I can't move forward on this because I don't know the answer. And you don't have to know everything. You have to have and develop the confidence to acknowledge that first and foremost and say, hey, I don't know everything, nor do I need to. If I don't know how many feet are in a mile, does that really matter? No, it doesn't, because I want you to think about the result that you are after. If the result that you're after is to go buy a property, but you don't know how to underwrite, it's the exact same response Henry Ford gave. Let's reiterate that question with the perspective of Henry Ford. Hey, Henry Ford, how many I almost said how many feet are in a mile. We kind of reframe this question a little bit. How do I underwrite or comp a property? I don't know, but I can find a man who does, or woman. It's really funny how we get in our own head and we're like, man, I don't know what the next steps are, but it's that really the answer is right in front of you. And in order to kind of start getting some more momentum and consistency in our life, I think just knowing that first and foremost is so vital to this entire process. Because when we get in our own head and we think that we have to know everything, we can't, because we don't know the answer to everything. I can't step into a leadership role because once something comes up and I don't know how to address it, my team is leaning on me and I don't know the answer and I feel like I'm going to fail them. I get that. I resonate with that. I cannot tell you how many times, it's almost on the daily, that my team in all of my businesses, something happens where I definitely don't know the answer. But what's really cool is I've been able to create a company culture that leans on each other, that supports each other. And we all acknowledge and understand that we are all growing in this together. And none of us are going to know everything, but what we can accomplish together gives us the energy and the focus, the discipline, and the abundance mindset to move forward as a team and saying, hey, we don't know the answers to these, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to address it. We're going to dish out and assign, responsibilities based on whose scope of responsibility asunder, and we support each other in that way. And so, all of this to say, before we get too deep into it, I just want to kind of give you guys some thoughts that I have and some context around some of the things for you to consider as to why you're not consistent or why you are not having any kind of momentum going on in your life or in your business right now. If any of those thoughts revolve around the feeling like you don't know enough or you don't know at all, let's throw that thought out the window right now. Okay. Freddie said, agreed, dealing with that now. Dude, thank you for jumping on here. Freddie, hopefully this so far was helpful in giving you a different perspective, or at least if you've heard this stuff before, at least just a reassurance that, hey, you don't have to know everything. And for those of you guys that are jumping in, definitely go back and watch the first 15 minutes of this live. This is information that you guys are going to absolutely want to know and benefit from. So let's talk about what momentum is and how to start gaining momentum. Now, for a lot of people, I want you to think about that feeling of when you first jumped into real estate or when you first jumped into wanting to build a business. Pretty difficult, right? As a matter of fact, let's go back even further. Let's use an analogy that everybody's familiar with. Come November, December timeframe, at the end of every year, the last 60 days typically, at the end of every year, most people, as they're preparing for the new year, part of that preparation work includes setting and outlining some goals. Let's use fitness as an example because fitness is a big part of a lot of people's life. Shannon, what up, friend? I love it. Anytime that Shannon comes in, dude, like it's all caps. We're ready. Let's go. I can feel the energy through Shannon's messages. I just love it. Thank you, Shannon. Love your face. I want you guys to think about the goals that people have when they jump into getting ready to jump into the new year. And we'll just use fitness as an example. What happens the first 2 or 3 weeks of the new year? If anybody who goes to the gym consistently, what do you guys notice happens inside of your gym the first 2 or 3 weeks of the new year? You guys are going, nothing's changed for you guys, but your environment has drastically changed because all of a sudden, everybody is wanting to get into shape. Zach says so many people. Oh my gosh. It is packed beyond belief. What happens after that initial 2 or 3 weeks? Actually, as a matter of fact, statistically, I think statistically like 90% of New Year's resolutions are broken just within the first 2 or 3 weeks of the new year, which is really, really interesting. So clearly, most people don't understand the importance of building momentum and how to do it and how to maintain that consistency and discipline. Jody says explosion number of peeps. Shannon says it's flooded. It is, my goodness. But the good news is that because for everybody else who's already built up that momentum, it's just like brushing your teeth, right? It's just something you do. Actually, as a matter of fact, if you decide to start going to the gym and you start going to the gym, the first 2, 3, even 4 weeks, it's going to be kind of difficult. You're going to be tired. You're going to be exhausted. Maybe a lot of that is contributing to, your sleep. A lot of those factors also include maybe you're changing your diet up. And so because you quite haven't built up that consistency yet of being able to change up your diet, the way that your body is reacting and utilizing the energy within it isn't to its highest and full potential because of the quality of food that you're feeding it. And so there's a lot of factors that contribute to why gaining that momentum going to the gym for the first 30 days is so difficult. But what's really interesting is if you commit to that and you can do that for the first 30 days, what's really interesting that happens is on day 31, if you miss going to the gym, it starts to feel like you're missing something, like your day is all automatically off now. Has anybody else felt like that before? Like I'm the exact same way. I am such an early bird. Then that's the first thing that I do when I wake up is I go to the gym. And if I sleep in and I skip going to the gym, I decide to sleep in, which is not often. I am human though. And I decide to sleep in. If I sleep in and I don't wake up till 5 or 6, and by that time I don't have any time to go to the gym, like my entire day, in my mind, my entire day is already shot. Like I'm already looking forward to going back to bed and waking up the next day. Zach says, I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm the exact same way, bro. If I don't, if my routine is thrown off, if I lose that momentum, if I skip the gym, it's just at a point now where in my head, like no matter what happens the rest of the day, it's a complete waste. Everything is absolutely for nothing now. I've lost all my momentum. I need to go back to bed and wake up and go to the gym the next day. So that's how it is for me. For a lot of you guys that are not going to the gym consistently, or it's something that you want to start going to, it's kind of the equivalent with starting and gaining momentum in anything. Could be a skill, a habit, a hobby, or your business even. The hardest part is always trying to get that momentum. We have thoughts, we have feelings. I'm a huge David Goggins fan because of this. David Goggins is my hero when it comes to understanding your body and your mind. And as he so elegantly puts it, your mind will bitch out long before your body ever will. Your mind will tell you, hey, I'm tired. Let's do it tomorrow. I don't feel like it. You can skip one day. Not a big deal. You don't have to make this phone call. Let's go take a nap instead. Your mind tells you all these things. And even more so, it's really interesting because if you guys follow David Goggins at all, he says most people they only reach about 40% of what their actual true potential is. And a lot of it is because right here is the reason that they don't even gain enough momentum to maintain any sort of consistency or build any kind of discipline for what they're needing in their business. And building up that momentum, guys, whether you're going to the gym, whether you're starting a business or new habit or whatever it is, it's going to take some time. That's how you start building up that momentum. It is going to absolutely take time. It's almost the equivalent of a locomotive. You got a train and you put a pencil in front of that train, and it just being at a standstill, getting going is almost kind of the equivalent of like having that pencil over there. It's like just enough to make it where it's like you feel like you're being stretched. And that comfort zone, think about it like a rubber band. When that rubber band is stretched out, and once you get to a point where that rubber band's about to break, you can't stretch it any further. That's quite literally the equivalent of your comfort zone. You can be stretched, but you'll get to a point to where you've hit the ceiling of that comfort zone. And a lot of times we just want to just go right back in. And getting that initial push is extremely difficult. It's almost like pushing a car. To get it going is not easy, especially depending on, what size of car you're pushing. But once you get some of that consistency, and my dad used to, when I was little, he used to drive us to a school parking lot. And of course, he just loved hanging out with my dad. He would always take us to the gas station. We'd get like a candy bar and a drink. And me and my brother, we were probably, 10, 12 at the time this happened. And then we'd go to the school. And while we are at the school, he would get out of the car and he'd put the car in neutral, and um, he'd just turn the accessory. For those of you guys, is there anybody that's old enough to remember when you had to put keys inside of a vehicle to turn it on? That's so weird. I feel like we're at a point like that now. My kids will never know the importance of having car keys. But he'd turn that accessory key to on so we could listen to music, and we'd always have the Back in Black album by AC/DC going, and we just turn it up. And I remember having my candy and then my Sprite next to me, and my dad's outside getting ready to push this car. And it was neat because here I am, 10 years old, 8 years old, and I got to drive the car. Now, it wasn't going or anything, but he was just pushing it, and all I had to do was just make sure to turn the wheel, that we just go in a circle in that parking lot. And I always remembered, obviously, that initial push getting started, like anything else, it's always going to take a little bit more effort than anything else. But as you keep going, as you maintain, and despite it being hard, in spite of it being difficult, as you focus on just one foot in front of the other, all of a sudden this mountain doesn't seem so, what's the word I want to look for here? It doesn't seem so scary. It doesn't seem so daunting. It doesn't seem like Tom Cruise doing the Mission Impossible. You know, we were talking this morning. I'll share something with you guys. We were talking this morning in one of my meetings with Haley and Carlin and James. And in this meeting, we were talking about adding more things. We've got a company calendar that we have things on. And what's really interesting that I noticed about myself from this morning, especially when it comes to building momentum and consistency and all those kind of things, being able to look back hindsight, there was just something that clicked. And I don't even think they know it. They're hearing it for the first time right here. What was really interesting is, as we were talking about that, James was talking about sometimes, depending on, I'm a huge fan. I don't utilize, like, Google Calendar is an example, like just with the colors, the way that it's staggered and formatted. In my mind, Google Calendar for me just is one of those calendars that I really dislike, because I see all these colors and I can see the entire week and I can see the entire month and see how everything is booked out. Like, to me, it's overwhelming. And it's daunting. It's like, oh my gosh, like, look at all the stuff that I have going on every single day this month. And I'll be honest with you guys, like, for me, it's daunting. It's like, man, I got a meeting here, I got to meet here, I got to do a live here, I got to do Zoom here, and then we got this here, and then we got this has to get done, and yada, 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 yada. Like, me being able to see that calendar is daunting for me. And it was neat because James was talking about his calendar, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, that is extremely daunting to me. And so one of the things that I've gotten really, really good at, especially when it comes to building up momentum and consistency, is focusing. The only thing that I ever focus on is one step at a time. Now, I want you guys to download this app. Download this app. It is called Todoist. Todoist. This app is going to save your life, literally. Todoist, not to-do list, Todoist, I-S-T, okay? And what I really love about this is that app is how I run my life. I don't have things in Google Calendar and all that other kind of stuff, because for me, it's daunting. When I got to look at all that kind of stuff, I don't know about you guys, when I see a laundry list of shit that I've got to do, especially over the course of like a month at a time, for me, it's daunting. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, where do I even start on this list? What do I prioritize? What do I, and I'm already looking at stuff that I need to be doing 2 weeks from now. And I'm like, man, maybe I need to be starting this right now. And then that's how things start getting missed. I start becoming overwhelmed very, very quickly. And then it doesn't turn into anything. And me knowing that about myself, let me know in the comments, is there anybody else that feels like that? Is there anybody else that, when it comes to trying to gain momentum on something, do you have a habit of just having or looking at like a laundry list of things that have to be done? Or do you ever get overwhelmed, like looking at a monthly calendar and seeing everything on there? And then it's like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I'm never going to have any free time. Like I'm just going to become a slave to this business. Is there anybody else that feels like that, or is it just me? Because I will tell you guys what, if there's anybody else that does feel like that, this app has absolutely changed my life. It's allowed me to accomplish some very amazing things. It's allowed me to scale my business in a way that I've never have before. And this is the reason why. Because this app, Todoist, I only with Todoist, I only look at the things that I have to accomplish that day. So let's say, as an example, let's say let's say I've got a list of like 12 things. Now I'm just going to use this as an example because I'm not going to show you guys all my calendar. But let's say this is Todoist is great because it's literally just a list and it's an app. And I will tell you guys, I'll take this a step further real quick. You can create a widget with it. What's up, Eliana? Hey, the app is called Todoist. Let me see if I can actually type it into the chat real quick. Okay, cool. So Shannon says, I look at everything all at once and get paralyzed. Okay, cool. Me too. So Shannon, I want you to download this Todoist. Okay, I put it in the chat for you guys. Todoist. Go to the App Store and download Todoist. And what's really great about Todoist is I can create a widget. Now, a widget is really great because even my dumbass, like if I had a bunch of stuff that I had to do and I kept it all in an app, I would still have to remember every second of my life to go into the app to see what else I have to do. And if I get caught up in some other stuff, like I'm not going to remember that I've got to go back into an app to see all the things that I have to do. Maybe that's just the visionary in me, guys. But I want to share this with you guys so you guys get to see, oh, wow, look at what Jesse's done. But also, oh my gosh, there's so many things about what Jesse's saying right now that I absolutely resonate with. And so it's neat to know that there's people like Jesse that are just as unorganized. But I want to share something with you guys, is that me knowing this about me, I've had to come up with my own way of maintaining consistency so that I can build up that momentum. And what I love about Todoist is I can create a widget. And so every single time that I unlock my phone, if I'm going to text somebody, or if I'm going to shoot content, or if I'm going to do whatever it is on my phone, every time I unlock it, the very, very first thing that I see on my phone is that widget. And that widget is really cool because all it shows me are the things that I have to do today. So I'm literally like, I'm not even thinking about the things I've got to do tomorrow because that's tomorrow's task. And I'm not thinking about things I've got to do on Saturday. That's a Saturday task. Now, for things, if there's something happening on Saturday, as an example, and I have something that I have to do for it, then I will put a reminder in Todoist, and I'll put a reminder on like Wednesday, and I'll just say, hey, prepare for Saturday's Zoom about X, Y, and Z. And then I'll set that reminder to be added to my Todoist on Wednesday. So come Monday, all I see are Monday tasks. On Tuesday, all I see are Tuesday tasks. And then I'm not even thinking about Wednesday. I'm not even thinking about Saturday. I'm not thinking about any of these things because all I'm focused on in climbing this mountain is just one step, one step, one step, one step. The only thing, I'm not looking at an entire calendar of everything that's got to get done in this entire list of crap that I've got to figure out how to get through over the next 30 days. Now, all of those are on my Todoist for things that I have going on July 29th, as an example. Like those are already scheduled in my Todoist, so I don't even have to think about it right now. Or if there's something going on July 29th and I need to prepare for it beforehand, then I already know that I've got a reminder in there to go off on July 25th. And so right now, I'm starting to gain a lot of momentum. Well, not right now, but like I am, but in general, right now, this is how I've been able to run and build and prioritize the things that are important to me. And I'm not even thinking about tomorrow, because if there's something that needs to be done tomorrow, I can either handle it at a certain time tomorrow. I've already designated that time. Or if there's something I had to prepare for, like I've already got that reminder showing up on my Todoist to show up on Thursday or Friday or whenever it is. So that's what I really love and have found that has given me the ability to gain a lot of traction, because that is the hard part. That's the hardest part about this entire business is you have a laundry list of things that you have to do. You've got to get leads, and then you've got to underwrite them. Then you got to skip trace this, and then you've got to make these phone calls, and then you've got to have buyers, and then you got to have money, and then you got to have a CRM, then you got to have company meetings. Like, you got to have like all these things, and it's like, my gosh, no, I can't do this. I'm so overwhelmed. So if there's anybody else that's resonating with this, believe me, this is something you need to do right now. Download Todoist and just start working one day at a time. And what's really great about this app, again, guys, is if you guys have so as an example, there are certain meetings that I have like either every single day of the week, and they're at the same time every single day of the week. I can just put those in Todoist, and I can just say Growth Co meeting at 0730 Monday through Saturday. And then it'll automatically put it in Todoist. So I never have to even think about it again. So when I wake up on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday or Saturday, when I wake up, my Todoist, my widget is already filled. My day is already filled. Like, I already know exactly what I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it. And if there's things that I have to prepare for in the future, I know that I've already got reminders set, and I don't have to focus or get overwhelmed. And a lot of like this one trick alone, guys, has given me the ability to generate so much momentum, because I'm not focused on this mountain. All I'm doing is focusing on what's in front of me right now. I'm literally focused on one thing at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time. I'm not even thinking about tomorrow. Naomi says, my heart is palpitating as you speak because I resonate so much with this condition. Woo! Good. Thank you for that feedback, Naomi. I'm glad it's not just me that looks at an entire stack of things that got to be done, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, where do I start? What do I prioritize? What do I do this? What do I do here? Like, this app has saved my life. And I know that I'm not even going to remember to go back into that app and look at my list. And it's great, guys. Go download it, man. Gosh dang it. I need to get some sort of sponsorship or something. I've recommended this app to so many people by now. This app is so great because it literally works like a checklist. And when you complete things, you just click it and it just disappears from the list, and your list gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. So I've got like Growth Co Live. I've got that at 10 o'clock. So as soon as we get done here, as soon as I wrap this up, I'll click it and it'll remove itself from the list. And so when I have, Ileana says, gotta get a code. I should get a code. Well, it's free. That's what's great about it is it's free. I haven't even had a need to upgrade the app at all. So it's just a great free resource that is literally, it's been the best thing for me to be able to just control my life. And that's a big reason why I've been able to get so much momentum in anything that I'm doing. Anytime I start a new endeavor, a new business, what have you, this has been the biggest thing that's helped me maintain and build momentum, because I'm not even worried about the things that are going on 7 days from now or 2 days from now or a month from now. I'm literally just focused on, what do I have to do today? If Haley says, hey, Jesse, I need X, Y, and Z, I'm like, great. If it's due Friday, I'm gonna be like, okay, cool. I'm gonna set some time aside on Wednesday to record this, and I'll put this together, and I can have this here by Thursday, and then we can go over it, and she can give me some feedback on it, and then it'll be ready to go by Friday. So I just put that in my Todoist, and I say, hey, start X, Y, and Z on Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. And then I forget about it. And then I focus on the things that I have to do today. And then once Wednesday at 11:30 comes around, then that's the time that I have set aside to work on those things. And so I don't even have to think about it, guys. I'm not looking at this big, long calendar just with all these tasks and colors and things, just because that overwhelms me. So I'm really glad that you guys are getting some value from this, because that's the biggest thing that keeps us from getting momentum is right here. When we want to go to the gym and we want to build muscle or lose weight or have six-pack abs, like we think about all the things that we have to do, and we acknowledge that, hey, going to the gym for 2 weeks isn't going to give us six-pack abs. We're looking at this from a long term, but we're also like, man, it's been 2 weeks and I'm not having six-pack abs yet. Like, what's going on? Like, stop focusing on those things. Literally, just focus on the day, just one step at a time, and you'd be so surprised of where you would be. I went to Hawaii last year. I spent 2 weeks in Hawaii. It was actually, while I was in Hawaii, Carlin and I were putting together our program. We were putting together our mentorship. And one of the things I ended up doing while I was in Hawaii, me and a couple friends, we went hiking. Went and climbed this mountain. And I'm not a big hiking guy. But, well, I mean, what else was I going to do? Just sit at the hotel? So I went, and we started hiking up this mountain. It was literally a mountain. We started hiking up this mountain. And eventually this path is winding left and right, kind of doing this zigzag thing. And then eventually we get to a point, maybe 20, 30 minutes into the hike, where it splits. And we run into a Y. And we get to that split. There really isn't a bunch of signage or anything like that. You can either go left or you can go right. Literally had no idea what to do. There was no kind of indication on which way to go or what does what or anything like that. So we literally just were like, all right, well, let's go right. So that's what we ended up doing. Now, what got really interesting is this trail. It didn't take long for this trail to start getting very, very steep. And I remember thinking, like, man, this is it's a little bit more difficult. I don't remember reading this in the Google reviews. But we kept going. And it got a little bit more steep and a little bit more steep and a little bit more sketchy. And then we started getting into rocks that were, it was very loose gravel, very loose rocks. And some of these rocks were just gigantic rocks, and they were loose. And some of them would tumble on down the mountain. And it was like one of those things where we had to let everybody know behind us. I mean, this thing was, I mean, I was on all fours, guys. And it was getting really, really sketch. And I remember looking back and thinking, man, maybe I ought to like scoot on my butt. Here I am, a grown man. And I'm sitting here thinking like, man, this is sketch. I could get extreme. If there's one slip or whatever, I mean, I had skate shoes on. And I'm sitting here on all fours thinking, man, if I slip, this could be bad because the gravel is so loose that I don't even know how I would stop. And so I was, to be honest with you, I was kind of scared a little bit. I was like, man, I hope nothing bad happens here. And it was so steep that you couldn't, there was no way to climb back down from it. And you couldn't, as a last resort, I'm sitting here thinking like, man, if nothing else, like I'll just sit on my butt and I'll just kind of scoot down the mountain on my butt. But it was so steep and the gravel was so loose that you couldn't even do that. And I just remember thinking like, man, when are we going to reach the top of this? Like, it seems like it never ends. I can't even see, 15, 20 feet up. Like, I have no idea how high this is going. And this thing is like almost straight up. And what was really interesting is as all those thoughts were coming through my head, and I'm sitting here like wondering, am I going to slip? Am I going to skin my knee? And then am I going to lose my grip and fall down this thing? Like, I have all these thoughts of like self-doubt and am I even going to be able to make it up? I mean, we literally just decided to climb a mountain that was straight up, and I have no idea when this is going to end. So I have all these thoughts of just self-doubt and overwhelming, and all I could think of was like, I know that I'm not anywhere near the top. I'm not anywhere near my destination. And when you're in a position like that where you have no idea where you're going to end, you have no idea what to expect as you're continuing to climb, you can't turn around, you can't scoot on your butt, it was very interesting. Like I said, I was on all fours and I was on my toes. So my calves were just burning. And I can remember the only thing that I could continue doing and telling myself was just not even looking up, just looking at what's right in front of me and just watching one hand in front of the other. And I'm just watching this and I'm just watching this and I'm just watching this. And then that's what all of us were doing. There's about 5 of us. And at some point, everyone kind of stops for a second. My calves are just burning. At this point, my legs are shaking. At some point, everybody kind of stops and there's a little bit of a clearing. Everybody says, "Oh my gosh, guys, turn around and look." And I turned around and I could not, I had no idea that we were that high. Being able to see the mountaintops, being able to see just this most gorgeous shade of ocean that I've ever seen before. And the ships and the roads and the vegetation, the trees, and being able to take all of that in, I was like, oh my gosh, this was worth it. This was phenomenal. And I thought, man, how interesting is it? And it was really interesting because as I was climbing this mountain, I literally had this exact same thought of me looking in my business and other things I'm involved in, and thought, man, how daunting are some of these mountains looking from a business, from an entrepreneur perspective. And I thought some of the things I've done in my business to overcome those, some of the things that I share with my clients and people that I've worked with, when it comes to climbing some of these mountains. And it was a literal experience and metaphor all wrapped into one, that I'll never forget. And for a lot of people, I think we tend to forget to look back when we're climbing these mountains and see how far we come. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, enjoy the struggle, and understand that where you are, you're only where you are because of the momentum that you have built, whether that's over a month or 6 months or a year or 5 years. It's so important to look back and understand how far you have come and to enjoy that journey, enjoy that process. I remember Alex Hormozy talking about when he was struggling, when he was on his own journey and he was trying to gain some momentum. When you're in the thick of it, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when these tasks are looking daunting, when you feel like you're not gaining the traction that you want, you're not really thinking about much else, outside of kind of a woe is me mentality. And so what do? You keep pushing, you keep pushing, you keep pushing. And it was interesting because he was talking about now that he's on top, now that he's made it, looking back at the mountain that he had to climb. And at times when he felt like he wasn't gaining momentum or he was down on himself or anything like that, his mindset wasn't, oh, let me enjoy this process. Let me enjoy me being in this position where my calves are hurting or I'm on all fours. And, you're not taking pictures or anything like that. You're not worried about that kind of stuff. But now that he's made it the top, and he's looking back down and he's like, gosh dang it, dude, like this sucks because I have a plethora of pictures and things to look at and reminisce about now that I'm on top. But what he really wishes that he had was pictures of him as he was struggling, as he was, sleeping in his gym and going through all those years of struggles. Looking back, all he could find was like 20 pictures. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys, because as you guys are feeling overwhelmed, as you guys are feeling like you're still trying to figure out how to get more organized and gain some more momentum, just understand this is all part of the process. First and foremost, it's going to be harder in the beginning more than anything else. So I get a lot of clients that are like, man, how come I don't know how to be a millionaire in 2 weeks or 4 weeks? Or how come I'm not getting this yet? Or how come I feel overwhelmed? It's like, man, you've got to give yourself some grace. We've got to build some momentum up. But before you can even build up some momentum, you have to even know how to build up momentum. A lot of people are afraid to fail, but most people don't even have enough information or even know how to fail. They couldn't even go fail if they wanted to. So part of this process in gaining some momentum, guys, is acknowledging first and foremost that to get going, it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. And just like anything else, it's not easy. If it was, everybody would do it. But there are tricks, there are certain things that you can do to help make it a little less easier on your calves. Now, to close out that story, what I ended up finding, as we eventually, that trail that was straight up, it eventually ran into the main trail that we were supposed to be on, and that was going diagonally as opposed to straight up. And so it wasn't, we eventually ran into that trail, and we took that main trail, and we finally got up to the top, and there were some locals up there, and we were just beat to shit. I mean, we looked like that we had been living out in the jungle for like months by now. I mean, we were all dirty, we were sweaty, like it was just kind of one of those movie scene scenarios. And we asked one of the locals, we're like, hey, what the freaking hell trail were we on? And come to find out, it was a goat's trail. I was like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. Well, that explains why it was straight up and why it was so rocky and terrible. So we ended up climbing up a goat's trail. But it was a huge lesson for me to be able to look back and understand, how to measure success, what to be focusing on when you're in situations like that. And so, guys, I hope today it gave you guys some perspective as well as some tools and things to consider when it comes to organizing your day, or when you have a laundry list of things that you feel like you have to get done. It can be overwhelming. And sometimes we don't do anything just because just even looking at it makes us so overwhelmed. But I'm here to tell you guys, as a practitioner of this stuff, these are some of the things that I've done and the ways that I have used to reframe the information or the tasks that I have to do, that allow me the opportunity to just focus on one thing and take it one day at a time. That's the only thing that I'm focused on. When I wake up every single day, I've got my to-do list. And like I said, some of the things are reoccurring. So you can set these things that are reoccurring. Like if you have meetings at a certain time, I'm a huge fan. I tell everybody this. You need to become the Bill Murray of Groundhog Day. Like every single day needs to be the exact same thing. Now, if you guys remember that movie, when he woke up, the first couple days, well, he's trying to figure out how to gain some momentum here. Like he's like, what the hell is this? What do I do today? Why is this happening? You guys remember your first couple months as an entrepreneur, kind of the same thing, where you continuously you're screwing up, you're saying the wrong thing to the wrong person, you're trying to figure out why your day looks like this. You keep stepping in the same pothole filled with water. You get the same person that's antagonizing you every single day. Like that's what jumping into entrepreneurship looks like. But as you continue doing it, as you continue gaining some momentum and you have fun on the journey, you acknowledge and embrace the struggle and see it for what it is and document it, live in it. Share with people. Hey guys, I've stepped in this pothole. Take your phone. Take your phone to share with everybody. Hey guys, I stepped in this pothole right here that's filled with water every single day for the last 3 months. And I'm here to tell you guys, I just want everybody else to know who's on this path. This pothole is here and it's filled with water. And so I just want to let everybody know so you guys can avoid it or step over it when you do encounter it. So in that way, things start getting better. Your job is to enjoy that journey, document your journey. Take this information, take the things that I'm telling you guys right now, go share it with somebody. Because I know you guys are hearing it, but I guarantee you, I do this. I mandate this for my clients. You have to go find somebody who's going to learn. You need to take an opportunity to teach this information to somebody else. Because even though you hear it, if you can go teach it to somebody else, it's going to absolutely go reinforce this stuff. For those of you guys that are up for the challenge, I challenge you right now. I'm calling you out. I can see everybody in the comments. I'm challenging you. Go take a second and go share this with somebody. As a matter of fact, go post it in the Growth Co Facebook group. Go take a screenshot of the Todoist app. And even though somebody else is going to do it, you go do it. Go take a screenshot of the Todoist app and go post in there and go tell somebody else what you learned today. Why would somebody else benefit from downloading Todoist? And I promise you, when you do this, if you're up for the challenge and you take this on, you're going to understand this information a whole lot better. Even though you understand it, by being able to take the time to explain it to somebody else, you're going to think about it differently than you are when you're just listening to me talk about it. You're going to understand it on such a deeper level. Why do you think everybody else tells you when you get new information, the very first thing you should go do is you should take that information and you should go share it with somebody. You should go teach it to somebody else. It's literally like anything. It's statistically by far and away the highest way to learn a piece of information is to take it and go teach it to somebody else. It doesn't matter if you heard it. It doesn't matter if you saw it. It doesn't matter if you watched somebody else do it. It doesn't matter if you did it. The best way to really understand the information is to take it and go give that to somebody. So I challenge you, if there's anybody that's up for the challenge and they want to understand at a deeper level how to gain some momentum, for those of you guys that are up for it, I challenge you, go in and talk about some of the things, share with some of the people what we've talked about today, and go make a post about it. Why should somebody download Todoist? Why is it important when trying to figure out how to get and maintain some momentum in your guys' business? What habit or skill or frame of mind should somebody be in or consider that's going to allow them to grow or take the shortcut? So one of the things, real quick, I'm going to give you guys 3 steps. I wrote down 3 steps that I wanted to share with you guys as I was thinking about and preparing for today. I wanted to share 3 things with you guys to take away from this, in addition to everything else, okay? In order to get and maintain some momentum, we need to set clear and achievable goals, okay? Now, sometimes these goals can seem mountainous. I always tell my clients, I want you guys to be shooting for 10x goals. And just the thought of that for a lot of people can be very crippling. It's like, man, I'm nowhere even near that. That's the point. Because first and foremost, when you set goals that are this high, you develop learning and expertise at that level as opposed to solving 100 smaller goals. So shoot big. Always freaking shoot big. Even if you don't make it up to here, you're going to make it down here. You would have never made it to here had you just focused on goals right here and then wanted to incrementally build up. If you want to be here, then you have to set goals that are up here. That's how it works. If you set goals that are down here because you think that's where you're at, then what you're going to achieve is actually down here. So it's really no surprise for those of you guys that aren't where you want to be. It's really no surprise. And I don't mean that derogatively. What I mean by that is I'm kind of speaking to the old version of myself. Because I used to think that, oh my gosh, like a 6-figure month, I can't even fathom that right now. I'm just trying to figure out how to make $5,000. Well, the reason it took me 12 months to get my first deal, which wasn't even $5,000, I made $1,200. Took me a year to learn how to make $1,200. A large portion of that was because I was setting my goals here. I was trying to figure out how to make $5,000 a month. So guess what? The problem and quality of problems that I was solving was of that caliber. Actually less, because this is what I did. If you want to make $50,000 a month, guess where you need to be shooting for? Okay, so first and foremost, you need to be setting clear and concise goals. With that being said, when you have these goals, just like that story I shared with you guys, me climbing that mountain in Hawaii, when you guys look at your calendar, all that stuff, that can be daunting. I get it. I literally just got done telling you guys it's 100% daunting to me. That's why I put the blinders on. I shield myself. I protect myself from feeling that way because I know how it's going to affect me. So I don't even look at it. So all I do is I focus on just one step at a time. I'm literally just focused on, all right, where's my next hand placement? Where's my next hand placement? Where's my next hand placement? All right, where's my next hand placement? Where am I going to put my foot today? Where am I going to put this foot today? And then eventually what's going to happen is your friends are going to be like, hey, turn around. And you're going to turn around and be like, holy freaking shit. I have never seen something so beautiful in my entire life. That's what's going to happen. And that's how you go from here to here. but you have to be willing to climb the mountain to get up to here. Okay, makes sense to everybody? So when you're shooting for these goals, it's important that you create a daily routine and you're just focusing on one thing at a time. Okay, not this big overwhelming thing. Okay, when we're focused on things over here, not only does it cause anxiety, but guess what? The caliber and quality of questions that we ask are nothing to do with where we are right now or what needs to be done. That's why I always tell you guys, prioritize your tasks and break them down. Don't focus them down. Don't focus on where we need to be in 2 weeks. Don't focus on where we're going to be in 6 months. Those don't matter right now. You need to be asking questions that are relative to what you're focusing on today. Like, you can't be asking about underwriting if you don't even have a lead coming in yet. You can't be asking about how to, who's got the best data for skip tracing if you don't even have a CRM or anything to house these leads yet. You can't be asking about and wasting your time asking questions about paperwork if you don't have any of these other things done yet. Like, how is paperwork, which is, should be on your calendar for like however many weeks or months away, how are you getting the things done on your list today? How is you taking time out of your day to understand how the paperwork side of things, how is that helping you check things off your list today? It's not. So I want to reiterate that. Set clear and achievable goals. Focus on one thing at a time. Start small and focus on small and manageable goals that obviously are going to help you climb that mountain. They're going to help you achieve that bigger objective. Okay. Number 2, build a routine and track your progress. Kind of coincides with some of the things that I've already talked about, with Todoist, time managing, making sure that you guys are doing the same thing every single day. If you got a meeting, make sure you have a meeting with your business partners, make sure it's the same time every single day. If you have to call sellers, make sure it's the same time that you sit down to do that every single day. If you're sitting down to fill out paperwork or submit offers, make it the same time every single day. Okay, build routine and then tracking your progress. And last but not least, make a decision and just don't stop. That's the big thing. When you come to a why, when you come to a T in the road or whatever, choose a decision. You don't have to, there's so many people that'll waste so much time trying to figure out what decision is right because they don't want to fail. But here's really, you know what? Oh my gosh, this is actually really good timing. Let me see if I can find this real quick and read this to you guys. This was so great. Okay. I want to share this with you. I saw this. Alex Hormozy posted this and I took a screenshot of it. So let me share this with you guys. So good. He said, beginners are paralyzed to make a decision because they assume the real world works like school and only has one right answer. In reality, there are many right answers with only one wrong answer, which is doing nothing. Let me repeat that one more time for you guys in the back. Beginners are paralyzed to make a decision because they assume the real world works like school and only has one right answer. In reality, there are many right answers with only one wrong answer, doing nothing. So I want to share that with you guys. Whether you go right or you go left, just make a decision. I can tell you guys right now, like, just being able to make a decision and not stopping, that is if I could summarize everything that is attributed to my success, it is that right there. That will help get you further than anything else. That's one thing that I'm really, 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 really good at. When we have to make a decision, I'm really good at making a decision. It doesn't have to, everybody's focused on making the right choice. All you have to do is make a choice and then make that decision right. It doesn't have to be the right decision. There isn't one right answer, just as Alex described. That's not reality at all. This isn't school. This isn't A, B, C, or D. You have to find the right answer. They're all the right answer. You just have to make a decision, and then you have to go all in and make that decision right. Okay? So again, set clear and achievable goals. Build a routine and track your guys' progress. And then finally, just make a decision and don't stop. Those are the 3 things that I have found that has helped me build so much momentum. And I'll leave you guys with this. When you focus on those three things, you start asking different questions. You start seeing things from a different vantage point. You're no longer worried about getting rich, but you start worrying about getting better. You start tracking things differently. You start thinking about things differently. You start managing your time differently. Your accountability begins to change. The things that you're tolerating from yourself and from others and in your business, in your relationships, they all start to change as you begin to gain more and more momentum. So I'm going to leave that with you guys. I hope this was helpful to you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being active. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you again. For those of you guys that are up for the challenge, take this opportunity. Go take a screenshot of this live, take a screenshot of you guys downloading this Todoist. Go post in the Growth Co Facebook group and share with somebody what you learned today. If you really want to understand these concepts, go share with them the 3 things that I've given you guys today. We'll see who's willing to take on that challenge and see how well you guys understand it. Give yourself that opportunity. Do not rob yourself of the opportunity to learn this stuff. That's why there's a 99% and a 1%. So we'll see who wants to be in that 1%. We'll see who's looking to wake up every single day and be 1% better. This is a big part of how you guys do it. Okay, with that said, I love you guys. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Naomi. Appreciate you guys. Ken, love all you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Terry, Manuel, appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing week. Pat, thank you. I'm glad this was helpful. Love you guys, and I will catch you guys a little later. Have a great week.